Okay, I am hoping that everyone is able to hear me and that my sound is on nice and loud. We're going to go ahead and get started. I am about a minute early, but we have a busy day and a lot to cover today. So, today we are going to be speaking about some biblical principles about planning and why planning is so important and creates a powerful life not only for the planner, but for those around the planner as well. Trust me, you're going to want to hear these things. So, welcome to my channel. My name is Coach Tanika. I am a coach that helps individuals, and I will say Christian women, because I'm going to start singling it down very soon. But I do help Christian women who are struggling with clarity in their life, whether it is their spiritual life, their professional life, their personal life, whatever it is. If you're struggling with clarity, I do help Christian women to gain clarity in all aspects of their lives through a biblical perspective so that they can gain power, purpose, and prosperity in all aspects of their lives. We know that this walk is not easy, and there are times where things can get a little bit of like foggy or unclear. But today we're going to be speaking about one of those principles that can help you towards that clarity. I also do have some resources for you at the end of our presentation that I will be presenting to you as well. So, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get on into it. And so, once again, as stated, we are going to be speaking about the power of a planner, both the person and the actual physical planner. So, I'm not sure if you can see it because the screen share or whatever, but a physical planner. I do personally use a Happy Planner. I actually have two of them. One is for my budget, and the other is for my personal day-to-day planning. But we'll get into details later, but of course, from a biblical perspective. Here we go. So once again, we'll be covering some practical insights of the importance and power of using a planner and being a planner while learning how to align our plans with our Lord. It's very, very important that we do connect these things because we have to realize in the end of things that our plans, we can plan all day, but if it's not in the plan that God has made for us, then we'll be chasing our tails. And that's not what we want to do. We want to get to accomplishing our goals. We want to get to completing things, and we want to get to growing in our life. So, some reasons why planning is so important is because it helps you manage your time. When you're planning or when you're able to plan, you're able to lay out your time either on a daily basis, a weekly basis. You can also plan out the months or even years, but it also gives you a visual understanding about what you do have to get done, how to get it done, when you got to get it done, and it also can put some urgency depending on how soon you need things done. But it helps you manage your time. It also helps you set your priorities. Um, as far as planning is concerned, I plan everything. I plan my scripture readings. I plan my prayer time. I plan time with my family or my husband. I plan my work. Like everything has to have a plan because if not, things will just start to get muddled, I guess you can say, and they'll start to run into each other, or you'll start to forget to do something because you did not take the time out just to simply plan it out before going ahead. A lot of times in my past, I used to run into an issue where something that was more important was missed because I didn't plan well, or events may have clashed with one another. I said yes to one person on one day, and then someone else invited me to something on the same exact day, and I just totally spaced out. Look, the older I get, the more I appreciate the art of planning. So, to continue, planning also reduces stress. And going into once again the age factor, um, you can be overbooked, you can be over busy, but when you start to plan and you see these things out on paper, or even out on a digital planner, however you like to plan. When you see these things laid out, you can say, oh no, this day is way too busy. There's too much here. I can move this here, whatever the case may be. This helps you to manage your own stress. And not only your stress, the stress of those around you or your family. I plan for them as well. We're a family of five. And our schedules and everything can get a little bit hectic, which of course throws me all the way off and can create some stress. So why not live a little less stress by creating these planning ideas? Next is to achieve your short-term and long-term goals. Now, as I stated, with planning, you can plan by the hour, you can plan by the day, the week, the month, the year, or years. But anyways, it gives you a idea of what needs to be done, how much time you have to get it done, and then that way you can break those planning ideas up into smaller goals that can build into getting to your larger one. And you'll actually see that I've included a goal planner in the resources today to also aid and assist with those types of things. So your organizer, or you can organize your planner effectively, okay? The way to organize a planner effectively, and this is going to be different for everyone. Because for one, it depends on what type of planner you do like. I actually have tried a lot of planners, but I've stuck with the Happy Planner only because I'm able to go ahead. I can change out my and I can stop sharing for this part. Let's pause the sharing for just a moment. There we go. Okay, so for the organization part, planning puts everything in either one book or in your tablet or whatever you choose to use, your laptop or whatever. But I've chosen Happy Planner for one because I like to switch things up. So you're able to take these tabs off. You're also able to switch out your inserts. So Happy Planner has it to where as though you have can switch out inserts, you can switch out the layout of how everything is organized, all that good stuff. So that's why I choose this. But you're also able to add stickers and whatever the case may be. But that is totally up to you and what you would like to do. 1 second, I think we have someone coming in the waiting room. And me too. I make this look so easy while I'm working with Greater Works. To do it on your own, it's a little bit harder. All right, there we go. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, so we've already gotten started, but of course, you know, you are more than welcome here. And let's get this back up and running. One moment. All right, so let's do this. I'm going to drop down in the description box below your resources as well. So as I'm going through, you're able to check them out, see what you think about them, all that good stuff. All right, here we go. Sorry. Perfect. So to organize your planner effectively, it helps, of course, including like setting your priorities and categorizing your tasks and scheduling your time for reflection. It's definitely important to go ahead and plan time to review your week, set aside a time during the week. So I use Saturdays. Saturday mornings are my times of reflection as well as planning for the week to come, starting off strong on Sundays, of course, and then going into the rest of the week. I do also take time to plan out for the month, especially with running my own nonprofit, now a business too, working full time, the kids, working for other nonprofits, and hosting these communities now. The need for planning is high. The purpose for planning is to keep all of that organized. And then also, for using a planner, you're able to, once again, I think we touched base on this in the beginning of our chat here, you're able to incorporate your faith-based practices into your planning. I do take time to schedule out scriptures, to schedule out prayer times, to schedule out who I'm praying for, what I'm praying about. And then also, of course, church and meetings or teachings, lessons, or whatever the case may be. And take time out to plan those things ahead of time, as well as get organized for it. It took time to put together this PowerPoint. So I had to plan out some time to get this done. It takes time to create the digital resources that I do for my community. So once again, everything should and is able to have a place and a time in order to be effective. Okay. So allocating that time once again for your prayer, your devotions, your worship time, and then also setting your spiritual goals. Yes, there are such things as spiritual goals. We should be continuing to grow day by day, faith by faith in the Lord. If you are still drinking on milk, then you have not set a spiritual goal for yourself. You should be setting small spiritual goals, which means the disciplines. You should be setting a goal to read your Bible every day. You should be setting a goal to increase your prayer time. You should be setting a goal to spend more time personally with the Lord or to help in your community more often. If God has called you to missions trips, you can set a goal to go on your first, if not seventh, missions trip. But these things, when you set goals for them, you work to actually accomplish them. And that's why it's so important. But even with your spiritual goals, of course, we talked about your personal and professional as well. But tracking your answered prayers and spiritual growth milestones is how you continue to keep that perseverance to continue to want to grow. So that last one is to track your answered prayers and spiritual growth milestones. This is a part of planning. You want to look back and see how far God has brought you and what he's brought you through. Why? Because it shows you that you can trust him. Then you gain more trust in him. You lean onto him more. You want to talk to him more. You want to spend more time with him. This is how we grow in the Lord. Now, let's go to next slide. We are going to speak a little bit about the story of Joseph. Now, for those who are unaware of who he was, he was the child that was chosen by the Lord, but also by his dad. His brothers started to have a little bit of a jealousy issue when it came to him, so much that they actually sold him into slavery, but told his dad that he was dead and gone, that he was killed, brought his jacket up, oh goodness, his robe, his colorful robe, brought it back to his dad covered in animal blood, just telling him that he was dead. But the whole time, Joseph was alive and well. He was going through some challenges. But he was growing. He was growing. He was prospering. He ended up prospering, everything like that. But to speak a little bit about how this aspect goes into planning, pulling up my other resource here. One moment. So, as far as the story of Joseph, once again, he did find himself in quite a bit of some challenges, but through it all, And you can find the story in the 37th through the 50th chapter of Genesis. 37 and 50th chapter of Genesis. But basically, it's a remarkable story about how biblical planning does work in our favor. And that demonstrates the importance of having vision, trusting in God, and strategically preparing. Joseph's journey from being a favored son to a slave, then to a prisoner, and then ultimately to a ruler. It just showcases and it shows us how God can use life's challenges to orchestrate divine plans. These are divine interventions. But once again, it's a part of planning. So Joseph's journey, it begun with his dreams that revealed his future, um, like promises from God. It revealed who he was going to be or what was going to happen, but they were not immediately realized, right? They didn't happen like that. It took quite a bit to get him to that point, but they became a guiding light for his life. And God has already placed in you a vision. You have a vision on your life that God has given you that may need some planning to go ahead and get to, but it is for you. It shows us the importance of having our God-given purposes as the foundation for our planning. This planner, before I even write in it during my Saturday planning sessions, I do pray. I pray over it. I pray over the plans, and I pray that God, whatever I'm doing, writing in this planner, that He brings it to my mind, He brings it to my heart, and it helps me to remember some things because once again, I can be kind of forgetful. But Joseph didn't fully understand his dream at first, and we are just like Joseph at times. There is a uncertainty or a cloudiness in regards to these purposes or visions that God has given us, and it takes some time as well as trust to put it out or to gain clarity in those things. But Joseph still chose to trust God at every phase of his journey. And even when his circumstances seemed like there was no other it's not possible. There was nothing else to do. God still made a way. Excuse me. So Joseph faced numerous setbacks, including the betrayals of his brothers, sold into slavery, and then imprisoned due to false accusations. How many of us have faced setbacks? And a lot of times, and I'll speak for myself, a lot of times these setbacks, they cause us to stop. They cause us to give up. They cause us to turn away. But I'm telling you, if you stick with your plans, regardless of the setback, you will see them come to fruition. You will see them happen if it is in God's will. So each of the trials that Joseph went through, they served as preparation for his future role. For instance, at Potiphar's house, Joseph developed skills in leadership and management. I have found myself in quite a few positions in my life, but each of those positions or those veer offs, so like my husband would tell me, those veer offs have brought me into a better place, a place of understanding new skills, a new confidence, whatever the case may be. It has elevated me in some way. Now, Joseph's faith and his diligence with the small things prepared him for the greater responsibilities. And that is where we were speaking about breaking down our goals into smaller goals to reach the bigger one. But it illustrates Proverbs 16:9. So if you can go on over there or not, but I do have it here. And it says, in their hearts, humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps. Once again, as we stated earlier. Now, Joseph's defining moment, of course, came when Pharaoh sought someone to interpret his troubling dreams, right? Joseph not only interpreted the dreams, which predicted 7 years of abundance followed by 7 years of famine, but he also proposed a detailed plan for Egypt. His strategic foresight included storing up surplus grain during the years of plenty and to sustain the nation during the famine. And you can find that in Genesis 41. But this proactive approach, he was being proactive and planning for this famine. It exemplified the biblical principle of wise stewardship and planning for the future, which is what we're speaking about today. If he did not set that timer or if he did not have that insight to go ahead and plan for this, they would have all perished. they would have all died. His family would never have been reunited. You know how the story ended, whatever they came to come and get some from the storehouse and everything, some food, some grain from the storehouse. But everything else after that just would not have happened. But Joseph planning, it didn't just save Egypt. It provided for the surrounding nations and ultimately preserved his own family once more. So his gift, his planning didn't just go good for himself. It went good for everybody. When you plan and when you're organized and when you're less stressed, that is good on everybody, not just for yourself. So when his brothers came to Egypt seeking the food, Joseph recognized the fulfillment of his dreams and extended forgiveness. His ability to see God's hand in his life allowed him to say, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." And that's Genesis 50:20. What people may do for your harm, what you may do against your harm, but God can turn it into good with the correct planning and execution. But anyways, we see God's timing. Joseph's life demonstrated that God's plan often unfolds over time and requires patience and faith. Also, with our planning, prepare in times of plenty. Just as Joseph stored up the grain during the abundance, we're called to steward resources wisely and prepare for future challenges. What do we know will in fact come in this life? Challenges. So why not plan for them now? Next, number three is to use challenges as preparation. Every trial that Joseph faced, it equipped him with the skills and the character necessary for his ultimate purpose. Every trial that you face should be a stepping stone or a stepping block into the next season of your life. You should grow from it, you should learn from it, and you should not repeat it if it is something that you could have avoided. These challenges are meant to make you stronger. Okay. Lastly, by seeking God's guidance, Joseph's resilience, well, no, his reliance, I should say, on God for wisdom interpretation reminds us to seek divine direction in our planning. God has our plans in his hands. And once again, we know in Jeremiah that they are plans to help us to prosper. They are plans to bring us upwards in life, not to harm us, not to hurt us. So why not give our planning or our ideas to him so that he can go ahead and bring them to a head the way that only he can. All right. When we leave it in our hands, we tend to mess it up. So why not give it to him? The story of Joseph, once again, it just teaches that ideas of biblical planning and how trusting in God and leaning into him is the overarching purpose. Preparing wisely is also a great thing because you never know what might happen. Tomorrow is not promised, but we can prepare for it. And using a God-given talent or opportunity to serve others. Don't only use your planning or your ideas for yourself. Make sure you do include others. Make sure you do include time in your planning for others. And just like this, so that I can share and help you out with your planning or your goals. Join the community. This is a growing community of like-minded individuals that are ready for their clarity. And I am so gung-ho and ready to help them gain it. It's a powerful reminder, or the story of Joseph is a powerful reminder that even in difficult circumstances, God's plans are always for our good and for his glory. So I hope that this has been very insightful for you today. For those that are here, if you have any questions, you can go ahead and drop them down in the comments section, and we can review them and let me know as well if you were able to download or view your documents. Any issues there, I will be sure to send them out to you personally and we'll get through it from there. But if there are, thank you. If there are no questions, comments, or concerns, I'm just going to start gearing once again all to my women. But once again, I choose a happy planner. I feel as though it is best suited for my ever-changing ideas and my needs for additional like tabs and different things. Um, and then of course for my budget, the budget one has its own special budgeting tabs that's geared towards that. And you can, switch out your covers, and it's just is what I plan or what I love to plan with. Also, for planning, have yourself some highlighters. Highlighters is a must, a pencil and some pens, whether it be colored or not. I definitely do love my Sharpie pens. They are fine, you can't see that. Fine tip Sharpie pens, but yeah, if you want some in-depth information about how I do go about my planning and how I sort through that stuff, then we'll talk about it. If you're in the community already, go ahead and share, or whatever insight you gained today, share with each other. If you have questions, you can also drop them there in the forum. But if you're not a part of the Clarity community and you are one, I'm gonna say woman, you are a woman that has just found herself in the middle of point A to point B, and you're not sure exactly how to get through this part of your life, let me help you. Let our community help you. Go ahead and join the Clarity community today so that you can start getting on that journey to clarity. Let me know, comment the word clarity in the comments below on whichever platform you're watching this, and I'll be sure to reach out to you personally. Outside of that, I think that is all we have today. So today was pretty short. I have some planning to actually get to myself, so I'm going to go ahead and get started on that. I do, of course, want to thank you guys for stopping by, as well as you for watching this later. And as always, guys, stay blessed.